How do you think we can rebuild a sense of shared national identity? And let me give you the other one because maybe they overlap.
Yeah.
We have a number of different sectors in this country who are now sort of banding together in the face of hostility. And what are their different roles in that project? And I'm thinking of universities and law firms and businesses, and you talked about media, but also about culture.
So there is this great American story, and it's like the Great American Songbook. There is a running thread through America, from Thomas Paine and George Washington to Thoreau and Emerson and Lincoln and Douglas and all the way through King and Kennedy's inaugural. There is the Whitman. There is a story about America that includes everybody. It's a good story. It's a story about people who. It's a story about people who aren't pretentious and don't believe that anybody is worse than them or better than them. That we're all endowed with a core dignity and are deserving of rights and respect, and have to assume responsibility for ourselves individually and our collective lives. And we all play a part. And that historically has not been I'm repeating myself here, it hasn't been a Republican or a Democratic idea. That is an American idea that everybody could tap into. And if that ends up being our starting point for a common identity, if our starting point is these homespun values of we don't have aristocracies here, we don't have rank, we don't have monarchies, we have rule of law, all people are equal in the eyes of the law, that we all have a part to play in democracy, that we all have to take individual responsibility for our lives, but we also have to, as Lincoln said, do some things together because we can do it better together than we can do it apart. If that's our starting point, then I think we'll be okay. But that's not where we are right now. I think right now what we're seeing is a politics that is reasserting a bad story of America, which is that even if there aren't technically ranks, we like the idea of caste, and we like the idea of hierarchy. And some people, this is our country, the real Americans, and these other folks are the phony and the fake Americans, or not even American. And that story also has a deep history in this country, right? That says, okay, the first Americans aren't Americans, and slaves are not Americans, and women are sort of Americans as long as they're doing what their husbands say, and people of different sexual orientations, they're not, we don't even want to hear about them. That story has been part of America as well. And people sometimes ask me, what